love you.
Hi, Mama.
I love you. How
This
are
is,
you?
he's good. He's not as tired as you are.
I'm sure. Apparently, you don't require sleep over there, right?
No, he says, I do not. But he said he is disappointed. He's sitting on a chair that I have a bunch of papers on. And normally I don't keep any papers or anything in the chairs for the spirits to sit down.
Right.
And I go, you don't require sleep, but you need the papers off the chair? He goes, it's principle. It's principle. To see him say it, like,
So funny. Like I've got to sit on papers, really? Yeah.
yeah, if you were a cat, you'd love it.
Yeah. You're
It's like I'm not a
lightweight,
cat.
Griff, now. Oh, God.
He said, hey, Mom,
Yeah.
do you want to talk about the changes coming up?
Yes.
He tells me, get comfortable.
I am.
Okay. Yeah, we're comfortable. He said, you can do what you want with this. But he doesn't have a preference. Um, so he's talking about the president and okay, but you see what I'm saying? Don't argue with me. You know what I'm talking about. You look good. Yeah. He's trying to make it look like I'm not understanding, but the way he flipped the information, it was very confusing. So he's talking about our current president and how he's handling racial issues, how he's handling boundaries, and how he's handling communication. It's the way he communicates, Mom, is this manipulative tactic, and what he does is he either empowers people to do what he wants to have done, or he guilts people into feeling as if they must stay quiet to comply. And he goes, those are the two big strategies that he has. And the kind of communication in the, he said he doesn't know what to call it, the new era of technology. Because he says, Mom, even if we just look 40 years ago, I mean, our biggest communication tool was the telephone. If you wanted to say something personal, it's not like every person could go on TV and say something, but now any person can be on the internet. Any person can um, send a tweet or a social post, which can be seen by millions. It can go worldwide. And he said, with the president using that as a new standard for communication and not putting any, he swings his arm out, any, again, zero emphasis on making sure that what he's saying is heard, like conveyed right. You know what I'm saying, right? Like you could say, um, did you eat that ice cream in a text? And it could be a simple like question, did you eat that ice cream? Or it could be, did you eat that ice cream? You're like screaming,
Right.
like furious. It could be furious.
Right.
And it could be a sad statement like, oh, did you eat that ice cream? And he's like, the tone and inflection is obsolete when it comes to this new level of communication. And of all the people in our country that needs to demonstrate the proper way of communicating, inflection, tone, posture, we have this guy who's throwing it all to the cautionary wind. Sure, we can do that. Cautionary wind. And he says, so now we have a generation who's watching this, whether they support him or not. We're not talking about his political views. They are seeing that it's acceptable to do those things. It's acceptable to communicate that way and to be blunt and leave the defining in the other person's hands when really it's your responsibility to get the message across the way that you need. he says, I don't think that it's going to help a lot of us moving forward in this way. And I'm wondering if there's any way that we can create new ways to distinguish what we're feeling above and beyond the freaking emoticons. He says, I look at the half of the ones that you use and I have no idea what they mean. Okay, I can get the laughing one, the crying one. Um, if he's spitting something out of his mouth, it's a puking one. He goes, but I don't know what the other faces mean. Surprise? And he said, so what are we going to have a class on?
Emoticons.
Oh my God. Yeah, have a class on emoticons. This is what this emotion looks like on a facial feature cartoon. And in cartoon facial features, this is what this emotion looks like.
Right.
And he goes, then maybe then we could probably use it a lot better. But for right now, it's still, I think, even more confusing because when people see it, they're like, I can get my voice that high. What the fuck is she saying? He just makes it go up really. It was really funny. Huh?
What was it?
What was that? I can't do it. It's really funny. He goes, and then people are saying, okay, well, she obviously feels a different way. He's obviously saying it that way. It's bullshit. It's bullshit. And since our viewership, it has me thinking, it's got me thinking, since our viewership, we're building a community like that. Can we then ask, like, hey, maybe here's some ground rules, which we don't have many. Like, definitely respect other people's opinions. This is not a place to come tear them down. This is a place to observe and support, whether you believe in it or not. This is a place to observe and support. But maybe it's also a place, Mom, where when people are writing their question out or writing their statement, they type out said with frustration, said with love, said with, and we make that kind of like our hashtag said with, and we get people to start expressing the emotion behind their typing so that then maybe it becomes a habit when they send a text to someone, they send an email to somebody else, and we can get this world a little bit more connected instead of say it nicely following this president's example. It had a lot of other flares in there,
Right.
but he did good in paring it down.
I agree with you, Griff. So, are you relating to me telling someone to get off my page?
Yes.
Did you see that, Griff?
Yeah, I did, but it all came together too. Like,
But was I wrong to tell her
you know,
that?
no, you weren't, because it made me think, why did she feel like she had the right?
Right.
Where, coming into somebody else's home, coming into somebody else's space,
Right.
and then flaring up like that. But like if we step back and look at that, where is that in our culture that is like, oh yeah, this is how we behave and this is how it goes down if you want to be, heard or seen. And he says it goes straight to what our president is doing. She behaved just like our president behaves.
Right. I told her that I had enough pain in my life to take her axe to grind somewhere else. Because I know you're not. Well, people really don't know what to do with trolls on the internet. Because I've heard celebrities talk about it. I've heard many, many people talk about it. And Jamie, I'm sure you face it too. But it's either, you know, like I remember when your dad played football, Griff, he said he didn't like to read the paper because if you're going to read the good, you've got to read the bad too. And I thought, well, maybe that's a good concept. And I don't mind constructive criticism, but when somebody starts putting people down, and the thing was about Chester's reading, and it sounds like she knows more than she's saying, and I start to wonder if she's even using her real name. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. And I'm like, what she got caught on a couple things. She got caught on that Chester said that he wrote the song for Chris Cornell, One More Light or whatever. I didn't even finish listening to the reading again, but the point was, Jamie, you and I've talked about this before. Sometimes people squeeze the reading. It's like they're just watching for something they can catch, you know? And I know for a fact he sang that song to Chris Cornell. Maybe that's what he meant. Do you know what I'm saying? But she won't give the benefit of the doubt, so then she calls bullshit on the whole thing, and I'm a fraud, and you know what I'm saying? Like all this kind of stuff, and I'm getting money out of this, or whatever she was saying. And I'm like, just get off my page. It sounds like you have an axe to grind. Go grind it somewhere else. Because I thought that was a beautiful reading, and I wouldn't bring anyone forward to hurt them. You know what I mean? Period. End of story. And I was like, at first I started off by saying, that's what you got out of that? And I did the emoji with the shocking face. Like, that's what you took from it? Of that whole reading, he talked about, it was so deep, Jamie. That was such a beautiful reading. It resonated with me for weeks, that reading. And I know you felt the same way. What a beautiful soul. He said that I have the chills, so he's probably listening, or I'm hitting the mark, that when he crossed over, he still took his pain with him, that it's not the answer. Do you know what I mean? For him, he did that. He doesn't want his children to think he buckled or whatever he said. It was all beautiful, articulate, but he made some beautiful points about he still had to go, and he's still working on himself over there. It didn't just poof like us humans think that you take your life and it's just magically better and beautiful and bliss, you know? He had so many beautiful points to help people, and that's why he said he came forward. He said he didn't care if anyone heard it, and that if one person heard it and it helped, then it was all worth it. You know what I mean? He just wanted you to know that when he crossed over, he started off that way. And she and a couple people got hung up on that he said he wrote that song for Chris Cornell, which was written by his bandmate for someone else, blah, 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 blah. Whatever, why would he say that? This is why this is all bullshit or whatever. So she just went off on me, you know? So I bit, and I was just like, and I got at her. And finally I just said, just get off my page, get off my page. You know what I mean? Because I don't need that, you know? So,
Is it posted over on YouTube?
yeah, yeah, yeah. So that's probably what Griffin's referring to, what got him thinking, maybe to make some rules.
Yeah, I've never, yeah, you're right, because he's never brought up anything like this before. And before you came on to the conversation, we weren't even discussing anything like this.
Right, right. Well, and then, so I said a few things like, to her, like I think I was specific about, she said the person that he said, belonged in jail or whatever, he said it, I got the inflection. The reading was very clear. He didn't say he didn't like the person that went to jail. He didn't say he didn't care about him. He said some people belong in jail. Everybody has their thing. I happen to know the person who got put in jail. I was best friends with his wife. And he does, for the human punishment, that's the punishment he gets for doing what he did. I'm not judging anything else. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he stole millions and
other
millions.
people were?
Yeah, but he stole millions and millions and millions of dollars. Plus, I happen to know how he treated his wife and all this stuff personally. So it's like, I didn't feel like Chester said it in a hateful way. Didn't say he didn't like the guy. He didn't. I mean, Chester just killed himself. He wasn't judging the person in jail. He said he leaned in and said, maybe that's where some people belong, like kind of playful. But then he said everybody has their thing, like not judging. You know, like we all have our things. You know. And she said, "Oh, that person didn't belong in jail," and whatever she said. And so it sounded like she knew more, or she wasn't who she said she was. You know what I mean? The person going off on me. And then she proceeded to put me down, you down, everybody down. So I was just like, just get off her page, because why are you here? You know what I mean?
Can't you block her?
Yeah, probably. I haven't looked into it, but I will. Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. I think you can block. I don't know much about it, but
Right.
you can also disable comments so that you don't have to worry about managing any of those comments.
Right. The only reason I left them open was because I like the questions, you know. But you're right. Maybe just disable them and don't give that arena.
Tell them if they have any questions towards new content or anything like that to refer them to sign up to your website.
Right. Right. Exactly. Exactly. And I mean, the comment didn't crush me. It's just that I would rather have a talk with somebody about it, you know. So I understand what Griffin's saying about the emojis and stuff like that. It was funny because I was watching some guy say, give a schooling on emojis. There's one that claps the hands and goes out. And he said it means, nope, nope, pass, don't take it, or whatever, like, don't take this question or whatever. And I would have thought it meant something else too. Like maybe there does need to be some specifics said.
Yeah, I thought that's the one that like encourages you on like,
Right?
yay!
Exactly. And the one that cries, like cries laughing, my friend thinks it means I'm crying. But I think it means you're laughing so hard you're crying.
You're laughing so hard.
Right. So we all have them messed up. And I remember my brother didn't used to want to text because he goes, I don't want to text with someone I don't know because they can't get my great sense of humor and the inflection of my what I'm saying. And it's so true. So much is misunderstood. You know?
Griffin says it shouldn't be accepted anymore.
No.
We've got to change it. Let's be the game changers.
Right? Right?